AITA for not liking my boyfriend's brother's GF, repost written better. This is going to be a very long post, as this has been the past 6 years of my life. There are a lot of people in this story, but the main group is myself, Orin, F20, my boyfriend, Sal, M20, his twin, Derek, M20, and his girlfriend, Win, F20. Backstory. I met Win in 9th grade, and we instantly became best friends. However, every time she got a new boyfriend, she would completely cut me off. This happened at least once a year, sometimes for months at a time. As soon as they broke up, she would come back with a sob story about how much she missed me and needed me, and I would forgive her, only for it to happen again a few months later. When I met Sal, Win was in a relationship, so we weren't in contact. About 4 months into my relationship with Sal, I reached out to her, and we reconnected. After that, Win started coming to me and Sal for advice because she suspected her boyfriend was about to break up with her. As a joke, and I still regret this to this day, not just because she was in a relationship but because the outcome was a mess, I would say, "Oh, it's okay, Derek is single." Now, was I wrong for making that joke? Yes. I admit that mistake. But at the time, I didn't think much of it. Meanwhile, Derek would text me constantly, talking about self-deprecating thoughts, what he wanted in a relationship, and just random conversations. I never thought it was odd because I told Sal whenever Derek said something concerning. Eventually, Win and her boyfriend broke up, and Derek asked me for advice about asking her out. I was honest. I specifically told both of them. It will be a little weird for me because I won't be able to tell Win the things girls tell their best friends about their boyfriends since she'd be dating Sal's twin. But as long as you two are happy, I don't care. At some point, they got together, but Sal and I didn't find out until 2 months later because they thought I didn't approve. I had told them at least 20 times that I didn't care as long as they were happy, but whatever. Fine. The incident. One night, we all went out with Sal and Derek's friend group. I was having a really bad panic attack the whole night, and it didn't help that the entire group was ignoring both me and Sal. That night, I met one of their friends' new girlfriends, Jay. I don't remember much of the night because of my anxiety, but at some point, Sal and Derek's little brother stopped by. I asked him to take me home because I wasn't feeling well. On the way home, their brother asked me who Jay was and why she had an issue with me. I was confused and told him I had literally met her that night and barely spoke to her. That's when he told me that Jay had been making fun of me, calling me fat, and saying other horrible things behind my back. For context, I'm a bigger girl and wear baggy clothes because they make me feel more confident. I've always struggled with self-esteem issues, and Win knew this. I asked Sal's brother if anyone said anything to defend me. He told me they didn't, and Win didn't say a word. Sal, his brother, and I were all shocked. That night, I decided I couldn't be friends with someone who wouldn't stick up for me when I wasn't even aware of what was being said. I texted Win, angrily, telling her I didn't appreciate that she stood by and let someone trash me behind my back. I expected her to at least acknowledge that she should have defended me. Instead, this started a whole war. The fallout. In my message, I was only addressing Win and Jay. I didn't say anything about Derek or the other guys who were there. But despite that, Sal and I were ostracized from the group. Derek started fighting with Sal at home, talking badly about both of us, and even saying nobody actually liked us in the group. It hurt to see Sal so affected by it. I eventually caved and called Win to talk things out, which, honestly, I regret. On top of that, I had to apologize to Derek because I was being childish or something. If anyone wants more context on that part, I have a lot to say. Why I can't stand Win anymore. Ever since then, Win has just felt fake to me, not just toward me, but also toward Jay, Sal, and even Sal's family. She seems to want to copy everything I do. If I get my license, she suddenly has to get hers. If I start college, she makes a big show about applying to college. She's also incredibly rude at Sal and Derek's house. She barely greets their parents, never really helps with anything, and mocks their mom behind her back when she's upset at Derek. She's just generally disrespectful of their home and their cars. At first, I tried to chalk it up to a difference in personality, but then something happened that made me really dislike her. Sal had two friends over, L and B. When Win arrived, she walked right past all of us and went straight up to Derek's room, without even saying hello. In our culture, it's a sign of respect to greet everyone in the house when you walk in. Sal was annoyed, and B was especially bothered because he had grown up with Win. The three of them, Sal, L, and B, started talking about their experiences with her, none of them good. But they moved on and continued their night, playing music and hanging out. Later that night, when Win finally came downstairs, Sal, still irritated, said hello in a sarcastic, "WTF is your issue?" kind of tone. He admits he shouldn't have chirped her like that. But instead of just rolling her eyes and ignoring it, Win lost her mind. She screamed at Sal, saying she had a bad day and didn't give her F***. She was yelling so loudly that their 100-pound dog got scared and hid behind me. We were all in shock as she slammed the door behind her and left. After we collected our jaws from the floor, I texted Win something along the lines of, "Never yell at Sal in his house like that again. If you're having a bad day, stay home." If one of my siblings' partners ever did that to me, I'd tell them to dump them because that's crazy. Win has come to the house in bad moods before, but she always makes it everyone else's problem. She once sat on the couch with the worst attitude while Sal's parents' friends were there, barely greeting them. I understand having a bad day, but why make everyone else tiptoe around you in their own home? Am I the a-hole? This is a long story with a lot of parts, but these are just two examples that made me think, wow, I really hate this chick. Am I perfect? No. I'm sure I've done or said things that make me look bad in her eyes, too. But everyone who has met her has had the same experience with her. Whenever I tell this story to my siblings or cousins, they all say I'm not in the wrong. Even Sal doesn't like her and says it's completely understandable why I don't. He says she has not treated me right at all in the past year she and Derek have been together. I want to make it clear that I have never said anything bad about Win to or in front of anyone who is friends with her, friends with Sal and Derek, or any of the boys' family. I don't really harp on this situation, and when I need advice from my siblings or cousins I always tell exactly what happened in my POV, and don't share any emotions or change anything to make Win look bad. I have only ever said good things about her to the people around me, as I don't feel it is right to talk bad about people around their backs, and if anyone says anything bad about her I either change the subject or tell them that she is nice, you just have to know her. There are also a lot of smaller parts missing. If you need more context, please let me know. There are also a lot of smaller parts missing. If you need more context, please let me know. For context, Sal and I have been together for 3 years. Derek and Win have been together for about 1 to 1.5 years. So, AITH.
Confession 2. I thought she was the one. February 4th, 2022 marks 3 years since I found my ex was cheating on me. This is where I've truly given up on relationships. So I had a history of being dumped for no apparent reasons, which kinda made me lose faith in ever getting into a relationship. However, I met this girl named Caitlin on my first day as a freshman in high school in my art class. She sat at the same table with me and some other kids, and we actually got along really great, and we ended up exchanging numbers. It was around the time we were getting close to summer break, and she asked me on a date, and I was a little hesitant because being dumped for no reasons, in which I told her about this, and she told me she'd never break my heart the way they did. She's right, because she broke it way worse. We started dating over the summer before we started our sophomore year, and man, I loved being with her. She made me forget about everything negative that was happening in my life, and I just felt like this was actually going to be different with her, and I could see us lasting for a lifetime. However, during our senior year, I noticed a change in how she was acting. She was at times distant and annoyed whenever I was around her. I would try to see what was going on, but she wouldn't tell me anything. I thought she may have needed her space, in which I gave her, but it was approaching her birthday, and I figured I'd go shopping to get her something for her birthday. I got her a card along with her favorite flowers that she liked, but when I went looking for her, she wasn't around, and first thing I thought was that she just didn't show up to school, but it was only until I was walking to lunch I heard her voice, and she was calling some guy baby. I poked my head around the corner to see her rubbing on some guy's arm, and they were flirting with each other and rubbing on one another. I walked from out of the corner, but didn't say anything, and I just watched as she pulled him in for a kiss, and they were making out. As for me, I just threw the stuff I bought in the garbage and just walked away and blocked her number. I've avoided any areas where I saw her, and I've just remained by myself ever since.